265. 265. Okay. So now we're gonna deal with more word problems, and I need you to pay attention to those little nuances that I'm gonna mention today. So I think most of you have a grasp on sine law, but now we're gonna have to deal with those little things like notation and things like that that will come up. So keep that in mind. For example, if you have a triangle like this, right, and you have one line going down the middle, right, and so let's say this is D, E, F like this. You can feel free to write this down. And so this point right here is called G. Okay. If you wanted to talk about this angle right here, right, can you just say angle G? It would be incorrect because you have G is split into two parts. So how do I refer to this angle right here? Do you remember? It's a three-letter notation. You can start here or you can start here. You would go E, G, F, right? So this particular angle is called angle EGF. You've seen the three-letter notation before, right? Or no? And so what would you call the inside, this one here on this side? EGD, right? Almost sounds like a medical term or something. Angle EGD. Or you could do DGE, it's okay. So you're basically saying if you were to connect, if you read this and you're like, okay, the first letter is E. If you were to connect E with G and then go to F, then that's the angle that would be formed. Does that make sense? Or am I going, does that make sense? If you're trying to talk about this angle and it's written like this, just follow it. The first letter is E, right? And then you're connecting E to G and G to F. And so you have actually drawn an angle here. So you're referring to that angle, the opening right there. We'll do more. We'll do more. This is just one of the instances where you have to be careful with the letter, the three-letter notation, okay? All right, let's try to answer this question here. Miguel is an arborist and he needs to calculate the height of the tree he will be removing from a construction site. The tree is leaning 85% with the ground. Okay, so you can tell that if this is the ground, it's leaning at an 85-degree angle. Miguel stands 30 meters from the base of the tree, so there's the 30 there, and calculates the angle of elevation to be 32 degrees to the top of the tree. So there's the 32 already there, and there's the 85 already there. Okay? So the first question is, what's the length of the tree? So basically, this is the length of the tree. Where would the height of the tree be? Because the second question for B down here, what does it say? Calculate the height of the tree. Where would you draw the height of the tree on that diagram? It would have to go straight down, right? It would make a 90-degree angle. So we'll do length first, and then we'll worry about the height. Okay? Do I have a pair? Not at first, but I can find it, right? Angle T is 180 minus 32 minus 85. Make sure you write this down. Okay, 180 minus 32 minus 85. and you get 63 degrees for that angle, which is important to us. Transfer that into the triangle here, and then you can circle it like that. Now you have an angle on the side across from it. So you know you're going to have to use sine law when that's the case. So start your setup. Sine of 63 over 30 meters. What goes on the other side? 85 or 32? 32, right? Because you want the side, you want that length of the tree. So sine of 32 over m. It's very important that you know which angle to take. Okay? And then let's cross multiply this part you know. So I'm going to make sure I show my work, right? To get full marks. It doesn't take much longer. It probably takes a few seconds, right, to do that. 30 times sine of 32. If you have a calculator, follow along to make sure you remember how to do it. 17.84, and we are in meters. That's the length of the tree. Okay. And now the second part. This is going to be new to you, somewhat new. Calculate the height of the tree, right? Height always meets the ground at 90 degrees. Therefore, it's a right triangle. I can use SOHCAHTOA now, Mr. Dirksen. Technically, you could, but I'm not going to teach you how to do that because I don't want you to work with that. So right now, you got to follow me. What I'm doing now is I'm going to cut this top triangle. Unfortunately, you can't see it all. I'm going to cut it right here to figure out the height of this tree. And I'm going to have this little sliver down there on that question because that's all I need to find the height of that tree. So I'm going to try to copy it. Height goes straight down. Just make a small sliver like that. We're pretending that this is our tree. This is M. This will be a 90 there. I know that because this is the height. So H for height, M goes there. This angle I know is 85 degrees. This is taken from the triangle above. And I know that this is what? I just calculated it. That's 17.84 meters. I'm going to make an arrow from the top down because I figured out what it is. Look at this one carefully. Don't answer out loud. Just in your, do you have a pair with this one right here? Do you have an angle and a side that you both know? Some of you are nodding. Some of you are nodding because others are nodding, right? But this is a 90 degree, and you actually know what this is. So you have a pair. Sine law, right? I want that to really stick, that if you have a pair, it's going to be the sine law that you're using. So watch this. Sine of what? What does this box mean? 90, right? 90 degrees over 17.84 is equal to sine of what? 85 over h, because 85 and h are across each other, right? So you're going to cross multiply and divide. 1784 times sine of 85 divided by sine of 90. Before you calculate this, I want everybody to, just so this sticks, press sine of 90. What do you get? You get 1, right? So sine of 90 degrees is always 1. I just don't want you to be surprised when you calculate that it's 1784 times sine of 85. You hit equals, right? And then you go divided by sine of 90. Nothing will happen because you're dividing by 1. So it's 17.77 is your height. And we are in meters. This is the height. Ivan, if you want to go now, you can go. Okay. So listen carefully because you're about to try one question like this on your own. I want you to go back to the first one. If you have a different color, it'd be great. If you don't, that's fine. But I'm gonna draw that height into that question. Right? This is the height right there. This is the length of the tree. So the length of the tree, if you were to cut that up, you would go with this. But if you want to know how high the tallest point of the tree is compared to the ground, it's this. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes they will trick you with having a line through the triangle, but you want to sometimes just focus on the outside first, on the outside. Don't try to get caught up with the middle here. Okay? So flip over. And I want you to try, go to 267. I want you to try that question on your own. It's based on what we've just done, okay? So that W there is kind of, that side is there to throw you off a little bit at first. So try to not think about it too much. So go ahead and try to read, interpret, and see what I need to solve for. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Okay. So in this particular case, they threw this line in, and it throws you off a little bit at first, right? But keep in mind that this 20 goes from end to end, right? So you want to try to use the whole thing. I will call this angle P. This will be angle K. This will be S, like that. So that means that if I call this a capital S, this would be lowercase s, this would be lowercase k. So my first step is to find, whenever you have an angle, a side, and another angle, that's a hidden pair, okay? So you want to find this angle up here. So angle P is 180 minus 17, right? This one here, minus 36. So angle P is going to be 127, which I saw a bunch of you calculate. That's good. So now I know that this whole thing here is 127. Okay, that's your pair. So it's sine of 127 over 20, right? That whole angle goes with the whole side. Okay? And then on the other side, you have to be careful. You've got too many angles to pick from, right? So if you're trying to find S, which is what this question is asking for, if you want that side, you got to use the angle opposite to that side. And so then it's cross multiply and divide. So S is going to be 20 times sine of 36. Make sure you show the work like this. If not, write it down. S is going to be 14.72 meters. Okay, so that answers. So if you want to transfer it over, some of you are doing this, that's just fine. If that helps you to actually transfer it over, go for it. Steve and Pika, right now they're asking for side K. I'm talking about the same triangle, so this is still true. Start with the pair that you know. But in this case, if I want to find side K, I need to use the angle opposite to it, right? And cross multiply and divide like that. And so K is 7.32 meters. Okay, that's the answer. That's answering the question. So at the very least, write down the answers, right, if you haven't done it. And now this is the one that you need to be prepared for, okay? How wide is the creek? That's where the W comes in. So that's when you need to cut, truncate, right? That's a fancy word. You're gonna cut this, and you can use this half. It's not half, sorry, wrong, sorry, I take that back. You can take the left side or the right side, but the beauty is both of them will be correct. Sometimes you're off by a little bit, but that's not a big deal, okay? I'm just realizing that Gavin isn't there. I thought you were Gavin, Owen. You tricked me pretty good today. I have to change that on my attendance. So which side do you want to pick? It doesn't matter. So I will pick the left side. This is W. There's a 90, of course, formed. This is 14.72 meters. I know this is 17 degrees here. I have a pair. In fact, I have both pairs that I want, right? So I go sine of 90 over 14.72 is equal to sine of 17. Just so you know, it's okay to find that third angle, but why would you do that? Like, you don't need to find this, right? That's okay. Cross multiply and divide. So width, let's see if we actually end up with the same answer. Sine of 17 divided by sine of 90. And you get 4.30 as your answer. It's the same concept as the height of the tree, right? It's the same thing. Some of you probably used the right side. You should have come up with the same answer. Okay, so both work. You just have to be careful how you do it. Okay. All right. Flip. I'm going to leave this up there. Some of you are writing still, so go ahead, write it down. I will give you a question.
I don't know how, but I got the same answer, but with the different angle, like for an egg, because the top angle I put 53, but I got the same answer.
I'll come and look at it. Yes. Sometimes actually quite often there's different ways of doing it, and you probably got it right. It's okay. I'll come and see you in a bit. We'll just make sure it's on the right track. Okay. I'll give you the answers so you can give them a try. 268. This is a tricky question. This is the answer is this, so write it down. 2750.33 meters. This is a round trip. You know what a round trip is, right? Going all around. So you got to be careful here. Something like this could or could not be on the test, may or may not be on the test. The round trip portion of it. Hint, hint, right? It's not going to be exactly the same, so I'm not worried about telling you that, but something like it. I'm looking at my time, and I think if you get this done today, if you can get this done today, we'll just call it a day, okay? I was gonna give you the answer to the bottom one as well, but let's just try this one here.